Okay. Well, don't go away. Let me try. Turn the thing off. Put the mic back on. Turn the mic back on. Is that better? Hard to believe I was a DJ way too many years ago, right? Yeah. Yeah, you all saw the picture back when I became the administrator, and they had the picture they took from my college yearbook and didn't use it, of me at the turntable. And the fact that it was a turntable wasn't the most remarkable thing in the picture. The most remarkable thing was I had a full head of hair and mutton chop sideburns back then. And I look at that and I say, who is that strange person? And now, I assume it's me because it's got my name on the back of the picture. So, welcome. We've done these before. I thought, gee, I did the 7 or 8 of them a year ago. I did it in Florida twice. Why would I need to do it again? Well, you're not a good advertisement for retirement. You got to make me work till I drop. But we're going to talk about your benefits, how they tie in with the city. We'll do detailed discussion of your benefits. From the welfare fund, from the retiree chapter. The officers from the union are all out doing something. Rosemary Sinclair may be back by noon, so if she is, she's going to pop in and say hello. We've got Mark Brodsky in the back, director of the retiree chapter. You've got my assistant Christy here. Christy's going to be running around with the microphone. When you have a question, so just put your hand up, because the thing is right under the speaker, so hopefully we'll get the question and the answer on the speaker. So, you've got some materials. For this workshop, I still use I'm old-fashioned. I still use paper. If you want to see me try PowerPoint, come next Wednesday, where we're doing one preparing for Medicare. It's something that Norm Sherman, our Florida liaison, has done on the East Coast around Palm Beach County for years. And a lot of the questions we're getting is people are waking up, which is good, and saying, oh my God, I'm going to be 65 in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. The world is going to come to an end. And so we talk you off the ledge. There is life after 65. And so I thought, let's try to do a workshop building upon what Norm did. And how do you prepare for Medicare? What is Medicare? How do you do it? How do you apply? Since I will be joining you in November, and my wife joined you in July, when I did hers, I was just, aha, she's older than me, put her in Medicare. When it came to me, it's like, hold it, maybe I want to do screen prints. So that I can go and so we have a reference, because I say, yeah, well, there's something that, because there is a trick question on the Medicare application. And so we'll mention the trick question at that point. And so we're going to try that, see how it goes. Hopefully we'll record that, so if you want to see me make a complete fool of myself with the PowerPoint, turn it into the video. But I'm going to start with my favorite chart. My favorite chart, for a number of reasons, is my little exploding pyramid. Now, this is my first attempt at getting multimedia. I was over in New Jersey talking to retirees, and what usually happens is when we go to talk, it's always those who are Medicare eligible with all the questions. And back 18 years ago when I started doing this, most retirees were Medicare eligible. But something happened. Several school reorganizations and bureaucrats and people that right out of college telling you what was best, people started retiring in droves. And so it wasn't all over 65. There was an awful lot of us young folks that were still there and we were retired. So they said, you got to do something for us. So I did this for them. I start with this because we have something that's very unique. We are the only group in the country that has free basic health care provided by our employer/former employer for us and our eligible dependents as long as we live. It used to be the norm, we're the exception. As our Commissioner of Labor Relations continually reminds us, we're the 1%. See, you always wanted to be part of the 1%, and now you are. It's too bad we got bullseyes on our backs. But we have free basic health care. For active members, as far as I know, the only group that is active is, that has a similar thing, are Los Angeles County teachers. If you happen to be a teacher in San Antonio, Texas, you pay 100% of your health care costs. The district does not provide anything. So being in the city of New York, while we're working, we have minimal costs. You retire, you got free basic health care. So that's the foundation, is the city provided health. It's in the city charter that every employee / retiree is entitled to free basic health care. It's benchmarked to the HIP health plan. HIP and GHI use pretty much the same, you have no cost for that. But then some of the other, Aetna, Cigna, Empire, you pay more. But you do have, but that's your choice. You can have free basic health care as long as you live for you and your eligible dependents. On top of that is the Retiree Welfare Fund. The Retiree Welfare Fund is free of charge to you and your eligible dependents because you retired as a member of the CSA Welfare Fund. We have two separate funds, an active fund for active employees, retiree fund for retirees. You do not pay for this. It was part of what you put aside when you were negotiating contracts while you were working. There was a contribution to the active fund, a contribution to the retiree fund. As a result, the retiree fund is a very healthy fund. And we have the best retiree benefits in the city. So if we already have the best health care benefits in the country, and we've got the best retiree benefits in the city, we're less than 1%. Yeah, we're the cherry on top of the sundae, which isn't a bad place to be if you like cherries. On top of that, as if that isn't enough, those who have elected to be members of the retiree chapter, part of their dues go for additional medical benefits. The retiree chapter supplements the welfare fund in many ways. You get an extra allowance when you go to get glasses. You get an extra $800 for a hearing aid. A number of procedure things, acupuncture, home health aid, private nursing. The chapter will kick in 20% of whatever the welfare fund paid. So basically for the covered services, if you spend $100, you end up with $96 back, which is a pretty good deal. And this is the best deal in the country. So, when we mature, Erwin, you remember Erwin Shanis, right? My predecessor. We've named the office space. It's the Erwin Shanis Suite. Back when we were in Brooklyn one day, and I was the, at that point, young assistant administrator who didn't know his place, we were having a conversation, and he was behind his desk, being Erwin, and I was being Doug. And I mentioned that he was old. And he got very indignant and said, I am not old, I am mature. And you know I wouldn't leave it at that. I said, yes, you're very mature. And got up and ran out of the office. So we figured that being 65 was mature. And I've enjoyed that for all these years, but I'm counting down. It's just, it's a month and 3 days, and all of a sudden I'm going to have to grow up and be mature. So when you mature, Medicare underlies everything. So participation in Medicare is your primary coverage. On top of that, the city coverage automatically becomes a Medicare supplement. So you don't have to go out and buy a Medicare supplement. The welfare fund piles on top, and the chapter on top. So you got 4 places to get a check from or get your benefits paid from. That city savings, the city plan savings can be, to give you an idea of what it is, the AARP, if you have friends who are not there, AARP offers a number of standard plans. The Plan F is the best plan you can get, and because it's the best plan you can get, Medicare says you can't offer it after 2020, but if you're already in, you can be there. That plan next year will cost $300 a month. You don't have that. That's a savings of $3,600 a year. So that's what the coverage is worth. Your prescription plan is very extensive. It costs you out of your pension $133 a month. So you're in very good shape there. So this is where I'd like to start. The city doesn't provide the health care because they like us. Oh, they love us, right? They love the active members because they can squeeze them and get them to do stuff. Retirees, you're an expense. So it's through the work of the unions that we're able to keep, A, keep benefits, and B, keep you from paying for them. We just finished in June a 4-year program that cumulatively saved the city $3.4 billion in healthcare costs. A number of things were done. Pre-Medicare. Nothing hit Medicare eligibles. But pre-Medicare, there was some steerage to groups with no copay. There was increase of copay if you didn't go to those. Some drugs were moved around a little bit. But nobody is paying for basic health care out of their paycheck or their pension. The city is now back. Not surprisingly. They're back. It's like a bad dream, right? Revenge of the City, Part 12. So when they came back this year, what was finally decided upon was a cumulative savings of an additional $1.2 billion. So that's what, $4.6 billion over 7 years? It's incredible. The main thing they're playing with is some hip rates. But this time around, they've implemented some wellness things, they're re-envisioning HIP, and they're working on centers of excellence, where the top level of coverage, they will guarantee lower fees if you send people there. So, for example, they're starting with the HIP first, and then it'll be rolled out to GHI probably in July, so they just want to get a feel for how it's working. If you're diagnosed with cancer, in Greater New York, where would you like to go? You'd like to go to Sloan. If your knees finally wore out from playing football in high school, and it's time for a hip replacement, where do you want to go? HSS. Guess what the Center of Excellence for Oncology, which is cancer, and orthopedics is for hip? Sloan.